on the situation on the ground. Our correspondent Gulliver Cragg is in Kyiv. Gulliver, first of all, what do you know as it stands about this attack in Odesa?
Well, so far, as you just said, they've said that one person has been killed and 5 people wounded. Several different targets were hit. Certainly, there are echoes here of what happened in Kyiv just at the very end of last month when the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres was visiting the city, and Russia chose that moment to target Kyiv once again. There certainly seems to be some kind of symbolic intention in targeting Odesa just at the moment when Charles Michel was visiting the city. But we don't really know what exactly the targets were intended to be. A warehouse, a shopping mall, and also a hotel were reportedly hit. And this is happening at a time when, of course, Ukraine's Western allies are trying to supply it with weapons, and the logistics of getting those weapons to the front lines in the south and the east of the country are extremely complicated and difficult, with Russia clearly trying to target the weapons themselves and the infrastructure that is being used to transport them there. So it may be that Russia, rightly or wrongly, considered that it had military targets in Odesa and that that's what was struck. It doesn't seem to be the start of an attempt to sort of storm the city or take the city. It seems to be in line with what Russia's been doing now for weeks, away from the main front lines where it does have troops on the ground, targeting various different places. And we can only speculate about what the logic is really behind exactly why a particular place is targeted on a particular day.
Now, moving to the Ukrainian cabinet, in an interview with the Financial Times, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba says that Ukraine should aim to reclaim all of its territory, including the parts occupied by Russia since 2014. How does that sound from where you are? Does it seem realistic, or does it reflect public opinion?
I think it probably reflects the majority of public opinion in Ukraine, that's for sure. You know, Ukraine has never given up on its moral right to those territories. Ukraine has never recognized Russian sovereignty over Crimea, nor has any other country. Nor has Ukraine ever called what was happening in Donbass anything other than a Russian intervention and a form of occupation of part of those territories. What has changed is that Ukraine now believes that it may have the military capacity to take back those territories by force. And I think that public support in Ukraine for that would probably be quite high. Also because I think that Ukrainians don't think that they will feel safe while Russia is still meddling in any part of their territory. The more difficult question is whether or not Ukraine would have international support for such a strategy. The United States Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that he wanted to see Russia significantly its military capacities reduced so it wouldn't be able to do again the kinds of things it's been doing in Ukraine since the 24th of February. So one might imagine that the tone of Lloyd Austin's remarks would be supportive of Ukraine trying to go further than just pushing Russia back to where it was on the 24th of February. European leaders, though, might be a bit more circumspect. We've had Emmanuel Macron, the French president, saying that he doesn't think Russia should be humiliated. So, of course, what Ukraine can do will, of course, continue to be dependent to quite a large degree on how much international support it has. And Dmytro Kuleba did say that Ukraine would continue to be open to negotiations and that there may be some compromises that would have to be made in order to stop huge amounts of bloodshed.
Thank you very much for that update. Gulliver Cragg there reporting for us from Kyiv.